There's a very important difference between copper and bioavailable copper. The movement of iron is actually really simple, and it's not that we need to consume more iron, it's that we need to move the iron that we already have because iron gets recycled in our body. There are three really important things for the movement of iron. The first one is a protein that's produced in the liver called the ceruloplasmin. So if you're trying to focus on your liver health, then focusing on your liver's ability to produce more ceruloplasmin can be really helpful. Things that help the body produce more is potassium, sodium, and whole food vitamin C, and also just general liver health. Think of this protein ceruloplasmin like a bus. It is going to be what carries everybody from point A to point B so that iron can be fully absorbed. And when I talk about the absorption of iron, it's really important to note that 24 milligrams of iron a day are recycled in our bodies, but it's only one that we need to get through diet. So if you're struggling with iron supplements or you're really focusing that your body doesn't absorb iron properly, it's probably the recycling process because 24 milligrams, it's a big deal. So then we move on to vitamin A in the form of retinol. This is going to unlock the door of the ceruloplasmin and allow copper and iron to board. I want to point out about vitamin A in the form of retinol is this comes from animal sources. If you are getting your vitamin A in the form of retinol from plant-based sources, then this is not the same because it takes 12 units of beta-carotene to equal 1 of retinol. That means that the body is doing a lot of extra work in order to convert it into the retinol form that it wants. So you could basically eat an entire room of carrots, or you could have a bottle of cod liver oil. Now, if you're going to ask me what can vegetarians do, it's just me explaining how the body works. If you have an issue with it, then I'm sorry, I'm just the messenger. So retinol is going to be the one that unlocks the door, and he allows copper to get on the bus. Now, copper's role is that he is the doorman. He is the one making sure that all of the doors open for iron to board, and iron are the people. So, for example, if we have a lineup of iron, say there's 10 people, we want to make sure that all of those iron get on the ceruloplasmin so that they can move through the body and be fully absorbed. Now, there are 7 doors to enter this bus, but there's only one for it to leave, and that is a copper doorman. So what's really important is if you're taking iron supplements, having iron transfusions, is that iron can't leave. He gets stuck on the bus, and we don't want that because that's iron building up in the body. So part of the issue is that if you think of a cast iron pan, the reason why you wash it and you dry it right away is because that would be iron interacting with oxygen and water. That would lead to rust, and that's not what we want inside of our bodies. So when I talk about copper and copper being bioavailable, there is a very important difference between just copper and bioavailable copper. So for example, if somebody had a copper IUD or was drinking, say for example, because this is a popular question, out of a copper cup, that's not a bioavailable form of copper. What that means is that copper isn't bound to the ceruloplasmin. It becomes bound to other proteins, and that's not what we want. That's not going to be how our body functions best. In order to have bioavailable copper, we need enough ceruloplasmin, and we need enough vitamin A in the form of retinol to lock copper to the ceruloplasmin. While the movement of iron is a simple process itself, how we get copper to be bioavailable can actually become complicated because there are different things in our lives that affect this process. Ascorbic acid affect the ceruloplasmin. So if you're taking a vitamin C supplement that says ascorbic acid on it, the ceruloplasmin is meant to live for 6 days. It lives for 6 hours when we consume ascorbic acid. So that is adding a lot of extra stress on the body. The actual process of bioavailable copper, it can become complicated just because of the lives that we live now, where so much that we consume now is processed and it affects that movement. How to get copper to be bioavailable is exactly what I teach my clients because this is critical to limiting the stress in the body, to helping our bodies function more optimally. If you're struggling with weight loss or your mental health, or the bioavailability of copper is front and center. Does this help you understand how copper becomes bioavailable?